Hello, and welcome back to Spittin' Sports with Lamar. I am Casey Lamar, and I'm coming at you from the 256. Today, it will be a Week 1 recap analysis of the NFL, since the Week 1 was completed last night with the two Monday Night Football games. I'm just going to go over those real quick, talk about them a little bit, and then that will be it. Just a real quick reminder, if you do enjoy this video, go ahead and drop a like. Uh, Share the video. Leave a comment on your thoughts for week 1 down in the comments below. And uh, subscribe to the channel. It means a lot. But we will get right into it. On Thursday night, you had the Eagles, defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, taking on the Atlanta Falcons. What we learned is Julio Jones is still a beast. Atlanta's got a long way to fix that. It's fixable, but Atlanta's got to fix the red zone offense. That was terrible. Absolutely terrible. It was awful. That's the only way to really describe it. The Eagles did not play very well offensively. The Philly special gave them a little bit of jolt, and they found their way to eke out an 18-12 win. Jai, he did have a good game though. He had 15 carries, 62 yards, and 2 touchdowns for the Eagles. But the Eagles ended up winning 18-12. Good start for the defending Super Bowl champs. We did have the longest game in NFL history as well on Sunday. Titans playing at the Miami Dolphins. 2 weather delays. Ended up being over 7 total hours from start to the finish of the game. Absolutely crazy. They didn't even have a halftime. They had such a long break, and then there was only just a few minutes left in the second quarter that they finished the second quarter, had a TV timeout, and then started playing again. But the Miami Dolphins, they came out 27-20. The Dolphins might be all right this year. Not a Super Bowl team, as I don't think Tennessee's a Super Bowl team. Mariota still doesn't look very good. Doesn't look like he's changed anything since last year. I don't think Derrick Henry is going to be as effective as many people thought he was, because it looks like they may be playing from behind a lot. The defense gave up a lot of rushing yards. They caused some turnovers, but they couldn't hardly stop the run. I think it only ended up being 120 total yards, but Frank Gore had 9 carries for 61. Deion Lewis looked like a good spot for Tennessee, which I feel like he's going to be a good player for Tennessee, because they're going to have to be throwing the ball a lot. That's what it looks like to me. Unless their defense can step up and start holding some people, because the Titans defense is expected to be better this year. Miami, I didn't expect them to win this game at all, but we'll just have to see as it goes along. Miami did pull out a Week 1 win, 27-20, in the longest game in NFL history. The next one, you had the Browns and the Steelers. It was a tie, 21-21. The Browns really made a charge in that fourth quarter. James Conner had an amazing game in place of Le'Veon Bell. A lot of people may say that missing Le'Veon might have changed something. I mean, Conner had 31 carries, 135 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Yes, he fumbled. The Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger had 5 turnovers. As a team, I think they had 7. Just crazy. Turnovers is what that was. I wouldn't necessarily say Le'Veon changes that game. He may have, but James Conner had 135 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was number 1 running back. If not number 1, he was top 3, top 2. He was one of the top backs of the week. So James Conner played very well. Juju Smith-Schuster had 5 catches, 119 yards. And like I said, Big Ben had a bunch of turnovers. The Browns had all the chances in the world to win this game, and they could not. So Steelers-Browns, Week 1 tie, 21-21. Bengals and the Colts. The Bengals traveled to Indianapolis. They beat the Colts 34-23. Andrew Luck can still throw the football. We got an answer that is nice to see. He's still there. He can still play, but that team as a whole just isn't very good for the Colts. And then the Bengals, it's like, what are we going to get this year? They had a good start to the year, obviously starting out with a win. They had a scoop and score to seal it at the end. Joe Mixon looks like a bright spot for the Bengals. A.J. Green, still good. Still as good as he ever was. But yeah, the Bengals 34-23 in that matchup. The Vikings and the 49ers. The Vikings are going to be a very good football team. San Francisco is going to be much improved, but the Vikings are going to be really good. Kirk Cousins um, didn't skip a beat, it seemed like. Stepped right in and just picked up where he left off last year. He was very good. He was very good for the Vikings. They ended up winning 24-16 over the 49ers. But the Vikings are going to be a tough team again this year, and probably even better. They probably have a better quarterback this year, even though Case Keenum was phenomenal last season. The next one was the Patriots and the Texans. The Patriots won 27-20, but they really dominated this whole game. The Houston Texans, they'd have a hard time blocking an old lady walking in a walker. They would have had a Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is going to get killed this year. They have to play Tennessee twice. They have to play Jacksonville twice. And I know the Patriots defense is a good defense, but they have to play those other two teams twice each, 4 times total between those two teams. Deshaun Watson might not survive his second year, and he did not look very good anyway. But that's just because of he was under duress the whole game. He only completed 50% of his passes, had 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He also fumbled the ball. New England cruised really in that game. The final score was 27-20, but never really seemed like it was in jeopardy of them losing. I'd be worried if I was a Texans fan. We'll see. It's week 1. Things can change, but that was not a promising start for what a lot of people were expecting out of Houston this year. The next one, Buccaneers. Fitzmagic is alive and well in Tampa Bay. They hung 48 points on the Saints. They won 48-40. Fitzpatrick was the top fantasy performer out of quarterbacks in Week 1. He threw for, what was it? He was 21-28 for 417 and 4 touchdowns. Drew Brees wasn't bad either. He only missed 8 passes, 37-45, 439, and 3 touchdowns. Alvin Kamara, 3 total touchdowns. Michael Thomas set a team record with 16 receptions. Mike Evans had an amazing game for Tampa Bay. But quick start for the Buccaneers. They might want to stick with Fitzpatrick. But Saints go down Week 1. That was a surprise. It was a race to 50 in that game. It was crazy. Tons of scoring. It was 31-24 at the half. Crazy game. Very crazy game, but the Buccaneers came out on top 48-40. Jacksonville, they struggled. They won. They won 20-15, but they struggled at times. Fournette got hurt. That's very bad. A very bad thing for them. Odell Beckham, he had 11 catches, 111 yards in his first game back. So he picked right back like he never missed anything. He picked right back up. But the Jaguars ended up winning 20-15. I think for the Giants, they needed to get a quarterback, and they didn't do that. Eli, at times it just looked like, what's going on out here? Saquon, he did impress in his first start. 18 carries, 106 yards, and a touchdown, including a 68-yard touchdown run. But Jaguars come out on top of that one, 20-15. I think that if the Giants had a little bit better quarterback play, they would have won that game. The Jaguars, they may rely too much on their defense this season, but it got the job done in Week 1. 20-15 was the final for Jacksonville. I think we might have found who the worst team in the NFL may be this season. I know it was sloppy conditions, but the Ravens all over the Bills, 47-3. Josh Allen ended up coming into this game. Obviously, he walked into a buzzsaw. The Bills, it's just, what are they going to do? The Ravens all over them, 47-3. Joe Flacco had a good game. They used Lamar Jackson a lot. That was surprising to me. He was in on quite a few plays. But the Ravens, that defense, too much. If fantasy this year, if the defense that's playing the Bills is on the waiver wire, pick them up. Pick them up. Because the Bills' offense is not good. And I don't think LaShawn McCoy is going to be able to do much this year. Week 1, but we'll see as it goes. Chiefs Chargers. Chiefs came out on top, 38-28 in that game. What can you say? Tyreek Hill did Tyreek Hill stuff, just filthy. His first two touches of the game were touchdowns. 90-plus yard punt return for a touchdown, and then a 58-yard touchdown, catch and run. Mahomes, he had 256 yards and 4 touchdowns. Phillip Rivers, the Chargers would have had a better chance to win this game, or probably would have won if Phillip Rivers didn't have receivers with panhands or butterfingers. They dropped 3 or 4 touchdowns in this game. It was bad. Phillip Rivers had a good game. He did throw 1 interception, but 34-51, 424, and 3 touchdowns. Phillip Rivers, that offense is going to be explosive. But when Tyreek Hill goes off for 3 touchdowns the way he did, and Mahomes was on point, passes were, you couldn't have thrown them any better. Direct, just over the fingertips of the defenders, perfectly right in his receiver's hands. The Chiefs came out on top, 38-28. But those two teams are going to be very good. That's who's I believe is going to be fighting for that AFC West championship. The Broncos, they showed that they're not going to roll over this year either. They defeated the Seahawks 27-24. Keenum, he was 25 of 39 for 329, 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. The funny thing about Keenum's 3 interceptions, he had 7 all of last year, and he threw 3 in week 1 of this season. Russell Wilson had 3 touchdowns, but he also had 2 interceptions. But the Broncos, that was a close game throughout, but the Broncos did end up coming out on top, 27-24. Another team that's going to be severely offensively challenged this year, the Arizona Cardinals. They eventually put 6 points on the board against the Redskins, but the Redskins, Alex Smith looked great. Adrian Peterson looked great. Didn't expect that out of Adrian Peterson. The Redskins won 24-6 very easily. But this is another case of if the defense is on the waiver wire, or if you have them and they're playing Arizona's offense, make sure you can get them. Make sure you start them. Arizona's offense is not going to be good with Sam Bradford. I don't think it's going to be very good with whoever may be the quarterback. Again, like I've said on every game so far, it's week 1, but Redskins are going to be a force in the East, the NFC East. The Cardinals, it's not going to be a very good year for Arizona this year. But yes, the Redskins won 24-6. Next game, Panthers, they doubled up the Cowboys and won 16-8. Cowboys, it's not going to be a great year for the Cowboys. It seems like this may be Jason Garrett's last season there. A very defensive game. Period. Cam Newton pretty much carried the Panthers on his back. He had a rushing touchdown, and he didn't do much through the air, but that was plenty enough. The Cowboys couldn't do anything on offense. Zeke, he had 15 carries for 69 yards and a touchdown, but Prescott only had 170 through the air. Like I said, Cam Newton, he only had 161 yards, but they were just that much better. It was the defenses in this game were very good. Both defenses were there was a lack of just offense. Cowboys have no receivers. Don't know how this season's going to go. But the Panthers, they won 16-8. The Sunday night game, everybody knows the craziness that happened with that one. It was the Khalil Mack show in the first half, and then it was Aaron Rodgers show in the second half. We all know how bad the Packers started out on Sunday. They were terrible, and then Aaron Rodgers got a knee injury that looked like it could possibly be a torn ligament or something, was carted off the field. Then they started moving the ball a little bit, but then turnovers. Khalil Mack hit them like a brick wall. He caused a fumble, and then he had an interception return for a touchdown, and it just looked like the Bears were going to cruise. It was 20-3 after the third quarter, and then Aaron Rodgers went off. 3 touchdowns. He finished with 286 yards, 3 touchdowns. Randall Cobb, 9 catches, 142 yards, and a touchdown. I don't know what they gave him in the locker room when they were examining him, but it worked. It really worked for Green Bay. They came back and won, but Mitch Trubisky, he actually looked very good too, especially in the first half. Uh, he ended up not all that great. He had a rushing touchdown, but Green Bay did come back to win 24-3. It was an amazing game. Um, Still don't know the complete status of Aaron Rodgers' knee injury. I think they're going to stay hush hush on that. But I think it's more serious than you would think it is. I think there's something really wrong in his knee, but he came back in. They won the game. That's what matters. If he decides to play through it, then that's fine too. But Green Bay got it done 24-23 on Sunday night. Last night, the Jets took it to the Lions. 48-17 was the final. Stafford threw 4 interceptions for the Lions. Um, it just was not good at all for Detroit last night. It was tied at 17 at one point in the third quarter, and then the final was 48-17. Interception after interception. It was just crazy. Darnold, he looked good in his first game. His first throw was terrible. It was a pick six for the Lions. Darnold did finish 16-21 for 198, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Stafford finished 27-46 for 286, 1 touchdown and 4 interceptions. Matt Castle came in for the Lions and threw another interception. It was bad last night for Detroit. I didn't expect them to be that good, but I did expect them to beat the Jets last night, and they did not do that. The Jets looked good. The Jets scored 31 points in the third quarter. There were 0 points scored in the fourth. It was just a terrible game for the Lions on their home field to open the season on Monday night. But yes, the Jets got that one done. Got that win, 48-17. The last game, Rams and Raiders, started out close, and then what was expected to happen, what I expected to happen, happened. The Rams just ran away with it. The scoring started with a Marshawn Lynch 11-yard, 10-yard touchdown run where he carried everybody from both teams on his back into the end zone. But the Rams are just too strong in the end of the game. Carr, he finished with 303 yards and 3 interceptions. Lynch had that 1 touchdown. That was the only touchdown that the Raiders had for the night. And they just eventually got tossed around and manhandled. It was bad. Jared Cook did look good. Jared Cook and Derek Carr are on the same page. They look like they may have a good connection for the season, but Goff and Gurley and the defense, everybody on that defense, just too much for the Raiders. I actually didn't get to watch this whole game. I was asleep during the second quarter, but I've gone back and looked at some stuff and watched some stuff, and the Rams are a very good football team. I saw somewhere where this baffled me. Gruden said they need more defensive pass rush, or they need more rush from the defense. You traded that guy away, and we saw what he did on Sunday night. But yeah, the Rams, they're going to be a very good football team. Oakland, of course, they'll win a few football games, but it's going to be a long season for the Raiders. Very long season, I believe. But that was the last game of the night. Goff, he finished with 233 and 2 touchdowns. Gurley, 200 yards. Or, not 200 yards. 20 carries, 108 yards. And then he also had 3 catches for 39 yards and a touchdown. Cooper Kupp, 5 for 52 and a touchdown. And Brandon Cooks in his first game in a Rams uniform, 5 for 87. Like I said, Jared Cook for the Raiders, he had 9 for 180. Marshawn Lynch finished with 11 for 41 and a touchdown. But Rams are a good football team. Long season for the Raiders. But that's just week 1. That is all for week 1. That was the last game played. That's all I have for my week 1 analysis or recap or whatever. Just wanted to go over that real quick. But that's all I had. Remember, if you did enjoy, please go ahead and leave a big thumbs up, a like, share, comment your thoughts on week 1, your biggest takeaways, and subscribe to the channel. But this has been Spittin' Sports with Lamar. I am Casey Lamar. I look forward to seeing you all again tomorrow.